Today's Halloween and it's my favorite holiday of the year, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to start a new tradition, and every single Halloween I'm going to release a Halloween themed movie review. So this will be my very first one. I have made a very special intro for you guys just to give the Halloween vibe, and then when we come back after that intro, I'm going to start with the review.
Why are you screaming? I haven't even caught you yet.
You're all going to die down here.
So I'm going to get a lot of criticism about this, but my favorite horror movie of all time is TheCollector. Yes, I know there's a lot of great classics out there like John Carpenter's Halloween, Alien, Freddy, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, The Descent, The Exorcist. But for me, this is my personal favorite horror movie, and I'll tell you why. I think it's a very underrated movie, and if you're looking for something to watch today on Halloween, you should check this one out. It is a fun thrill ride. TheCollector is about a guy named Arkin who is a home security system technician, and he finds out about this house that he's working on, that they have a jewel that is worth a lot of money. And they don't really imply this, but his wife has some legal trouble with maybe the mafia or a gang. Like I said, they don't go into detail of what they do, but they're bad people and they need to be paid that night. So he needs to plan ahead of schedule to steal this jewel. So he goes back to the house he set up the home security system to get that jewel out of that house. But what Arkin doesn't know is the collector, the protagonist, has set booby traps in the house. This movie has very unique ideas. It's just a non-stop thrill ride. Once Arkin finds out the killer is in the house, all the suspense just builds and builds, and it doesn't ever let up. You are stuck with him in this house, and you are stressed out as much as he is. The Collector is a menacing and scary story that gets right to the point, and you are literally rooting for the bad guy in this one, which is very rare to root for the bad guy in a horror movie. But this one did a good job of making you kind of want to see where it goes. The director lets you know the collector means business. He's constantly delivering crazy carnage and mayhem from the kills and the tense moments of what this killer is doing and all the traps. They really go into detail of how the traps work, which raises the bar even more. You are literally stuck watching Arkin in this creepy atmospheric house with booby traps everywhere. Every single step he takes, he needs to be cautious and careful of where he's going or what's behind the door, and it really shows that the killer went to great lengths to set all this up. And to top it off, the movie is very gory. There's a part where Arkin tries to open a window and the window slaps down on his hand and it's filled with razor blades and he's got to scrape his hand off and it shows all of the skin peeling and the blood, and it keeps going back to his face of how much pain he's in. They did a really great job of putting you in his shoes. They let you kind of gauge how you would react. And one of the great things about this movie is you actually like the lead character, Arkin. He's actually smart, which is not very common in horror movies, let's be honest. Usually people have very low IQs. This one, they made Arkin very intelligent. He also fights back, and he finds ways to trick the killer to move around. I don't want to spoil a whole lot of the movie, but one of them is there's a girl in the basement that the killer has down there, and he needs to go back upstairs to get something to help her escape. So what he does is he has her scream to get the killer's attention, so he goes down there and focuses on her while he sneaks his way back upstairs.
I'm gonna need you to scream.
Oh, no.
Listen,
No.
I just need a distraction so I can get up there. If I get up there, I can find Hannah, but I need to get upstairs.
I do appreciate very much that the director and the writers took a lot of time to make the actual characters intelligent instead of a character who just makes a bunch of illogical decisions. Now, the gold of this movie is the Collector himself. I think he is one of the scariest villains in a film. To me, he just is creepy and mysterious, and you don't really know much about him. There is a sequel to this called The Collection. They do share a little more information, but it's still very vague. All his speaking is done through action, so you just don't know anything about him. I like what they did with his eyes in the editing program. They masked his eyes to where they would get this shine, this glow. It gave him a lot of character. The killer was also very intelligent, and when you have two smart characters trying to outsmart each other, it was just a really fun cat and mouse game to sit here and watch these guys try to trick each other. And I think for a slasher film, this worked really good. It's one of the most underrated horror movies of all time. I know very few people who have seen this, and when I have recommended to people, they see the trailer and it looks very generic. This is a smart horror film, and you're really on the edge of your seat. And it's a shorter film, too. It's about 85 minutes. So it's not very long, and I think that runtime worked really well for what they were trying to tell, because any longer, it wouldn't have worked. So I think what they did with that was good. One of my nitpicks, though, it's a small one, is some of these traps are extremely complicated. They were put together too perfectly. The technical work that would go into setting these traps up, the killer would have to be there for like a month. He would need more time than just a couple of hours, which is kind of what they portrayed in the movie. He had done it within a few hours after Arkin left. So that'd be like my only nitpick. I like the rest of it. When the cop shows up and the killer just comes out, he's not afraid to take the cop on. The way he gets the cop is smart. I don't want to spoil it, but I just think the killer had a menacing presence to him. I was scared of this guy. And as someone who does like bad guys in movies, the ending of this movie was perfect, and it really fit with what they were trying to tell here. And the last thing I want to mention is a spoiler. If you're going to stick around for it, great. I just want to give you a little warning. So if you don't want the movie to be spoiled for you, please check it out. I gave The Collector an A+. Now, the reason I gave this movie an A+ is because I like negative endings, and you don't get to see them very often, especially when the bad guy wins. It truly is. If you sit back and think about it, the bad guy rarely wins. And this one, he catches Arkin and throws him in his van, and you're like taken aback by it, because I wasn't expecting it myself. And what I like about it is the killer grabs Arkin, he throws him into the chest where the Collector keeps people. And as Arkin's trying to get out, the killer keeps slamming the door on his hand. When he finally gets him in there, the killer's going to the back of his van to close the doors, and you just hear Arkin scream. And I liked the reverb and the sound work they did for it, because they gave it an echo. He didn't just scream no, it had this very haunting presence to it. The way he screams no, it's basically like the end for you. He's captured, he's gonna die. It really set the tone and the presence of this film, that it's not like your average horror movie. I couldn't have asked for a better ending. This movie is an A+. So if you need something to watch today on Halloween, check out The Collector. It is very underrated and it's very good. It is gory. There's a lot of nasty traps and gore scenes, but we've all seen Saw. If you watch horror movies, I'm sure it won't bother you too much. This truly is a hidden gem. That does it for this review, guys. Yes, The Collector is my favorite horror movie. You can give me crap in the comments below and let me know what your favorite horror movie is. And please give this video a like. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And hit that subscribe button. It really helps out with the channel. And I hope you enjoyed this Halloween special, guys. I want to wish everybody a happy Halloween. And I'm going to catch you movie fans on the next review.